NBC has announced plans for a spin-off to the hit series Suits. It will focus on Meghan Markle's character's struggle to balance her legal career while also caring for an unemployed immigrant.
Like, my life was so hard. Everybody's f***ing life is hard.
Yeah,
you were the prince of a
That's true.
goddamn country who dressed up as a f***ing Nazi, and now you're trying to come back as the Pope? Suck it.
Now for the tricky part. Place in microwave. What is microwave? I don't think we have any of that.
Are you fucking dumb?
It's a microwave, silly.
Don't talk to me like that, you bitch! I'm a fucking duchess! Shake that off!
Oh,
Damn!
If you had lunch with Meghan Markle, you'd be stunned at how dumb she was. Not because she's black, because I wouldn't think she was black if I looked at her, because she's an actress who was on the show Suits.
Somehow, Meghan Markle ended up claiming a title nobody proudly chases, and it hit harder than anyone expected. She definitely didn't step into 2025 thinking she'd be labelled one of the most disliked figures in the spotlight, but that's exactly how things played out. It's crazy how fast everything flipped. 1 minute, she was just another actress trying to stay relevant, then suddenly she became a duchess. And just as quickly, she managed to turn a huge part of the entertainment world against her, like a switch got flipped overnight. Late-night hosts, comedians, and satire shows didn't hesitate. They locked in and made her one of their main targets. And let's be real for a second, a lot of people feel like she gave them the material herself. Every interview, every public appearance, every statement, it all kept adding fuel to the fire. The jokes didn't come out of nowhere. They built up over time. So now, we're breaking down the celebrities who piled on and helped shape this whole image, starting with the comedian who finally said what so many were thinking but didn't want to say out loud. Chris Rock didn't hold back at all.
Gone on Oprah, I didn't know. I had no idea how racist they were. It's the royal family. You didn't Google these motherfuckers? What the f is she talking about? She didn't know. The fuck? It's the royal family. They're the original racists. And they drink a lot. These motherfuckers invested in slavery like it was Shark Tank. They're so racist. They wanted to know how brown the baby's gonna be. I'm like, that's not racist. Because even black people want to know how brown the baby gonna be. Shit.
He didn't just throw jokes, he went straight at the entire narrative and tore it apart piece by piece. He questioned the whole victim storyline and made it clear he wasn't buying it. His point was simple, but loud. She married into a royal system that's been around for centuries, filled with history, traditions, and controversy. Acting surprised by that, he wasn't letting that slide. From his point of view, none of this was new information. These institutions have always been complicated, always layered with issues. Acting shocked after stepping into that world didn't make sense to him, and he made sure everyone heard it loud and clear. Then things escalated even more when he touched on the controversy around speculation about the baby's appearance, something that turned into a massive public issue. Chris didn't soften it. He challenged how that situation was framed and pushed the idea that what started as curiosity got turned into something much bigger than it needed to be. He straight up called it manufactured outrage. And once he said that publicly, everything shifted. Suddenly, more people felt bold enough to speak, and the tone across media started changing fast. Then Joe Coy stepped up at the Golden Globe Awards and didn't play it safe for even a second. Award shows are usually all smiles and polite jokes.
Just a great series about a rich, white, dysfunctional family, all scheming. Oh no, that's The Crown. That's The Crown. I'm sorry. How great was Imelda Staunton in The Crown? Wasn't she amazing? Her portrayal of the Queen was so good, Prince Harry called her for it and asked her for money. Turns out Prince Harry and Meghan Markle will still get paid millions of dollars for doing absolutely nothing. And that's just by Netflix.
But he flipped that completely. One sharp line was all it took, and he summed things up in a way that stuck. A wealthy, chaotic family situation that people watched more out of curiosity than admiration. That moment made one thing clear. The tone had shifted completely. The Netflix deal that once sounded like a major power move, it became one of the easiest punchlines out there. Big money, huge expectations, but content that critics kept questioning. The gap between hype and delivery became impossible to ignore, and comedians kept circling back to it again and again. Then Jimmy Kimmel came in and aimed straight at one of the biggest talking points, the reason behind their move to America. He openly questioned the narrative, pointing out how things didn't fully add up from his perspective, and he didn't stop there, not even close. He went after Spare and turned it into a national joke on live television. His take was blunt. A long, emotional story that, to him, came off as overly dramatic and way too personal. That moment flipped the book into comedy material almost instantly, and once that happened, it stuck. Jimmy Fallon took a different angle but still kept the pressure going. He zeroed in on Meghan's lifestyle content, especially moments that went viral for all the wrong reasons. That pretzel bag clip? It spread everywhere, and people couldn't stop talking about it. Not because it impressed them, but because it felt disconnected from reality. That's when the conversation started getting louder.
Harry said racism was a big part of their decision to leave, which you know things are bad at Buckingham Palace if they came to America to get away from racism. Prince Harry, whose memoir just broke the Guinness record for fastest-selling nonfiction book of all time, the story of Prince Harold and his frozen yogurt slinger, is so popular, they're now releasing a version for kids. I don't know if you know about this. It's a twist on The Princess and the Pea. It's called The Prince and the Penis, and it's
People saying the content felt out of touch. Interview after interview kept dropping. Oprah Winfrey, Netflix features, even 60 Minutes. For critics, it started to feel excessive, like the message was being repeated too many times. Stephen Colbert jumped in and poked fun at the branding attempts, especially the H&M nickname. To him, it felt forced, like a planned image trying too hard to feel natural. That contrast made it even easier for people to joke about it. Even earlier, Colin Jost had already started hinting at this shift. He suggested that the public interest wasn't as strong as before and that not everyone was invested in their presence. That idea slowly turned into a louder narrative. At one point, the criticism went even further, with people saying they didn't fully belong anywhere, not fully embraced in the US, and clearly distanced from the UK. That in-between space became part of how people described their situation, whether fair or not. Then came the focus on Prince Harry himself. Critics started questioning his decisions, saying that stepping away from royal duties completely changed how people saw him. The argument was that instead of building something stronger, he risked losing the identity that once made him stand out. When Saturday Night Live turns your relationship into a running joke, that's when things hit a different level. It stops being just headlines. It becomes entertainment for millions watching. Trevor Noah had one of the most noticeable shifts. At first, he actually supported Meghan and focused his jokes on the royal system instead.
The 60 Minutes interview was a great chance to hear Harry and Meghan's story, in case you missed their 2-hour sit-down with Oprah or their 6-part Netflix documentary.
Action 2.
Meghan Markle has finally revealed why she and Prince Harry call each other M and H.
And he'll say M and you'll say H and your friends say M and it just is a thing.
It's a thing.
And do you both love it?
Yes, and I like nicknames a lot.
What could it be? A mystery for the ages.
President Trump also announced a new trade deal with the UK that will reopen British markets for American companies. All that Britain demands in return is that we keep these two.
No! No! I refuse! I'm sick of it!
Elon built electric cars. He's going to Mars. Why is he even involving himself with Twitter? It would be like if the Prince of England gave it all up just to marry an actor from Suits.
He pointed out its flaws, called out its outdated traditions, and didn't aim his criticism at her. But then something changed. A moment stood out. Harry at a premiere, speaking with Bob Iger, reportedly trying to open doors for opportunities. That single moment shifted Trevor's perspective completely. He compared it to how royal marriages used to work, power moves, alliances, decisions that shaped nations. And now, from his point of view, it looked more like chasing industry deals. That contrast hit hard, and it changed how he approached the topic. Then Bill Maher stepped in with a more detailed breakdown. He pointed out what he saw as a major contradiction. You talk about wanting privacy, but then stay constantly in the public eye. That clash didn't sit right with him, and he made sure to call it out clearly. For him, real dignity meant knowing when to stay quiet, not constantly speaking out. That idea drew a strong comparison to Queen Elizabeth II, who built her image on restraint and silence. Then Nikki Glaser came in with a completely different angle. She framed the whole situation as a calculated move, suggesting Meghan saw an opportunity to reach a level of fame that Hollywood alone couldn't provide, and took it. Her take was sharp: remove Harry from the picture and the spotlight changes instantly. That perspective painted the relationship as strategic in the eyes of critics, whether people agreed or not. American comedians made their stance loud, but then the British comedians stepped in, and they didn't hold back either. Jimmy Carr pointed out what he saw as a major contradiction: building a public image around independence and empowerment, then stepping away from a personal career path once royal life entered the picture. That tension became impossible for critics to ignore. And on top of that, Harry's past controversies kept following him no matter what. No amount of rebranding could fully erase certain moments, and people kept bringing them up again and again. The pressure didn't slow down. It built up. Every joke, every headline, every comment added another layer to the narrative. And once that kind of momentum starts, it doesn't just fade away easily, it sticks, it spreads, and it keeps growing louder. And through all of it, one thing stayed clear. No matter how much effort goes into reshaping the image, the past doesn't just disappear, it lingers, it resurfaces, and it keeps reminding everyone of what came before. Just like that controversial costume moment, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. While all of this was unfolding, another issue started making people even more heated, and it hit straight at public perception. The fact that British taxpayers were helping fund Meghan's lifestyle while she openly spoke about how difficult things were didn't sit right with a lot of people at all. That disconnect, it triggered a serious reaction, and the criticism came in fast and loud. Kelly Osbourne didn't hesitate for even a second. She jumped in and shut down the whole victim narrative almost instantly. In her view, everyone goes through struggles, that's just life. But when you're talking about those struggles while living in luxury, in a massive mansion, surrounded by privilege, it doesn't come across as relatable. It comes off completely out of touch, and she made that point loud and clear. That's when people started saying something deeper. PR campaigns can try to reshape an image, but they don't erase what's already out there. Once something hits the public, it sticks. Photos, interviews, past moments, none of that just disappears. And the internet, it never forgets. That's where things started getting even more intense. Then Simon Brodkin decided to actually give them a fair chance. He sat down and watched their full Netflix documentary, expecting to maybe see another side of the story. But what happened next surprised a lot of people. Instead of improving their image, the documentary seemed to do the opposite. For viewers who didn't have strong opinions before, it actually pushed them into forming one, and not always in a positive way. It started off with serious points, touching on issues like racism and media pressure. And for a moment, people were listening. But then the tone shifted, and once the branding, the H&M identity, and the repeated messaging kicked in, a lot of viewers checked out completely. The way Prince Harry explained things also became a talking point. Critics described his storytelling as overly dramatic, almost theatrical, and at times, it made the whole situation feel less serious than it was supposed to be. Some even said it reached a point where people started sympathizing with the institution he was criticizing, which is not an easy thing to pull off. Then came the criticism about understanding royal life itself. The idea being pushed was simple. If you're stepping into a family that runs a country with centuries of tradition and strict expectations, shouldn't there be some effort to understand how it all works first? That question kept coming up again and again. And when content starts landing in a way that makes audiences question the message entirely, that's when things shift. It reached a point where some critics felt the storytelling was missing self-awareness, and that perception stuck hard. British comedians took things even further, and this time it felt personal. The tone changed from jokes to something sharper, more direct. The main argument: you can't criticize the monarchy heavily, hold on to royal titles, and then step away while still presenting yourself as the victim. That contradiction became one of the biggest talking points. Then, Conan O'Brien stepped in with a completely different angle and somehow made it hit just as hard. Instead of direct jokes, he used something unexpected, wax figures, and somehow that worked perfectly. He turned those figures into comedy gold without them even being present. It was clever, it was subtle, but it landed hard. Because when your public image gets turned into a joke through something that isn't even real, that's when you know it's reached another level. It wasn't just commentary anymore. It became a symbol. And then he went even further, taking aim at Meghan's business ventures, especially the jam brand. To critics, that venture became a perfect example of the bigger issue. Products positioned as relatable, down-to-earth lifestyle items, but carrying a premium image that didn't match that message. The reaction? People called it out fast. They saw it as basic ideas being repackaged into something marketed as exclusive, and that disconnect became part of the criticism. It wasn't just about the product, it was about what it represented. Then John Oliver entered the conversation, and his tone was completely different. Known for being measured, analytical, and careful with his words, when he started taking shots, people paid attention. Because when someone like that speaks up, it doesn't come off as random jokes, it feels like a breakdown, an analysis. And when he suggested that growth didn't seem to be happening, that hit differently. That wasn't just comedy. It felt like an assessment, and that made it even more impactful. But it didn't stop with comedians or television hosts. The internet took things to another level completely, and once it gets there, it doesn't slow down. Memes, edits, parodies, it all exploded. One of the biggest examples was Spitting Image, which created some of the most brutal satire aimed at Meghan. Their sketches didn't hold back. They exaggerated personality traits, turned public moments into punchlines, and pushed the narrative to extremes. Then suddenly, it all disappeared. Reports started circulating that legal pressure may have played a role, but nothing was fully confirmed. Still, that didn't stop people from digging it back up, because once something gets removed, it only makes people want to see it more. The satire itself? It focused heavily on the contrast between image and behavior, portraying a nice public persona while showing a more controlling, calculated version behind the scenes. That was the core of the joke. And it landed hard because it tapped into what critics were already saying. Even Meghan's cooking and lifestyle content got turned into parody. Simple ideas exaggerated into over-the-top, premium advice. Things like presenting everyday actions as deep, meaningful lifestyle tips. That exaggeration became the humor. There were even scenes that played on the dynamic between Meghan and Harry, suggesting imbalance, control, and influence, and using puppets to show that. It made the message hit even harder without saying it directly. Then came another layer, the privacy debate. Living close to celebrities like Oprah Winfrey while still talking about wanting privacy became a major talking point. Critics pointed out the contradiction, close enough to stay in the spotlight, but distant enough to claim separation. That double standard didn't go unnoticed, and it kept coming up in discussions again and again. It became part of the overall narrative that people couldn't ignore. And then South Park stepped in and took everything to another level entirely. They didn't just make jokes, they built a whole episode around the situation. They highlighted what they saw as contradictions, wanting privacy while doing interviews, magazine covers, and television specials. That contrast became the core of the episode, and they pushed it hard. The idea of a privacy tour became one of the biggest punchlines, traveling around, speaking publicly, while saying you want to stay out of the spotlight. It was irony that practically wrote itself, and South Park made sure nobody missed it. Even the concept of searching for a quiet, peaceful life got turned into a joke, especially when it was paired with filming and documenting everything. That lack of self-awareness became part of the humor, and it hit hard because people recognized it instantly. Everything got amplified. The contradictions, the messaging, the image. It all came together into one narrative that kept getting repeated across platforms. And at that point, it wasn't just a few comedians or a few shows anymore. It was everywhere. Television, online platforms, social media. Everyone had something to say. That's what made this situation different. It didn't stay contained. It spread, it evolved, and it kept building momentum with every new joke, every new clip, every new reaction. So when you look back at all of this, It's not just about one moment or one comment. It's about how everything stacked up over time. Every interview, every appearance, every response, it all added to the bigger picture. Now here's where it gets interesting, because people are split on this. Some feel like the criticism went way too far, that it crossed lines and became excessive. Others think it was deserved that public figures open themselves up to this level of scrutiny when they step into that spotlight. So what do you think about all of this? Did things go too far? Or was this just the natural reaction to everything that happened? There are a lot of opinions on both sides, and it's not slowing down anytime soon. If you've got a take on it, drop it down below. People have been debating this non-stop, and your perspective might add something new to the conversation. And if you want more breakdowns like this, more moments, more behind-the-scenes context, stick around and hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.